Saint Simon, his main idea came out of the scientific revolution and the Enlightenment. He tied physics, physiology, psychology, history, politics, and economics together in order to understand people and the society. So he saw humanity divided up into three different classes. The first class, he said, would be under the banner of progress of the human mind, and this would include all the scientists, the artists, and all of those who had liberal ideas. The second class, they would be under the banner of no innovation. And these are all the owners, the proprietors, who did not belong to the first class, and they were therefore by default in the second. Then there was the third class, which would be under the banner of equality. And this is the rest of the people, your third estate.
We are scientists. We are politicians. We are the experts. We are your leaders. We rule over you. Do not question if there is a God, because we tell you there is no God. All you are is simply a freak of nature. You are an animal. You evolved by chance. Nothing about you is special. Nothing about you is real. All you are is simply a spectacle of a freak of nature. We are the scientists. We are the experts. We know what's best for you.
Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep.
They have us. They control us. They are our masters. Wake up!
The movement was begun 8 months ago by a small group of scientists who discovered, quite by accident, these signals being sent through.
But what I will say of this virus, I think we're in the middle of a massive experiment worldwide. And that
where
is,
are the guinea pigs?
maybe the experiment is, will people listen to scientists? In this case, referring to medical professionals?
Medical
In this
professionals.
particular case?
Say Anthony Fauci over at Allergy and Infectious Disease.
For example, washing your hands. And are you taking these precautions? These are warnings offered by scientists. And
for our own good.
For our own good. Coronavirus works on us because it evolved in life on Earth. In the same way, an oak tree is not going to catch whooping cough. More and more, we will need to heed the warnings of scientists as we go forward.
That I'm reluctant to do, but we will do them if the scientists tell us that they will help to keep people safe.
I want you to listen to the scientists. And I want you to unite behind the science. And then I want you to take real action.
Could you expand on why it's so important to listen to the science?
Just such a thing that we should be taking for granted, that we listen to the current best available united science. It's just something that everyone should do.
So let's bring in the mayor of Atlanta right now. Keisha Lance Bottoms joins us this morning. Mayor Bottoms, thank you for joining us this morning. I want to put up that cover from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution this morning, reopening today. It's happening today in the state of Georgia. So what is your message as this process starts? What's the most important thing you want the people of Atlanta and Georgia and the country to know about this?
What I would say is simply just stay home, listen to the scientists, and to the extent that we have any relief, again, in our numbers, it's because we followed the experts, we've listened to the science, and we've stayed home over the past few weeks. And I think to make an assumption that we are out of the woods is not based on anything other than a desire to open up businesses. And what I believe is that There are some who are willing to sacrifice lives for the sake of the economy, and that's unacceptable to me.
Boy, that is a powerful statement.
That they don't even have the courage, the decency to listen to the scientists.
What truly keeps me up at night is I'm going to lose somebody I know. I also worry about the unnecessary deaths that might occur if we don't take proper measures. The concern, of course, is that if too many of us get the virus, then our ability to treat those people will be diminished. And as a consequence, some people who should live may not.
Roland, we've got to listen to the scientists. We can't afford to listen to people who really don't know the science and don't know what they're talking about. I very much, I realize Mr. Trump is our president, but we've got to listen to the scientists on this. If we do not get ahead of this virus, well, we can contaminate our whole country, and then, we can lose millions and millions of lives. So I say that we need to really listen to what's been said on the things we need to do to protect our health. We've got to make sure that we abide by all the rules. We've got to stop this virus and try and get ahead of it, because we don't have enough doctors, beds, nurses, or anything else to take care of all the people who might get sick. So I feel that we have to close down everything. We've got to close down. We've got to be as far away from our people as we can. We've got to isolate at home. We've got to close our schools, whatever we need to do. And we've got to listen to our scientists and do what they say. And what, we're going to have to do whatever we have to do.
Every day we face issues like climate change or the safety of vaccines, where we have to answer questions whose answers rely heavily on scientific information. Scientists tell us that the world is warming. Scientists tell us that vaccines are safe. But how do we know if they're right? Why should we believe the science? So if you think about it, a geologist can't tell you whether a vaccine is safe. Most chemists are not experts in evolutionary theory. A physicist cannot tell you, despite the claims of some of them, whether or not tobacco causes cancer. So if even scientists themselves have to make a leap of faith outside their own fields, then why do they accept the claims of other scientists? Why do they believe each other's claims? And should we believe those claims? So what I'd like to argue is, yes, we should, but not for the reason that most of us think. Most of us were taught in school that the reason we should believe in science is because of the scientific method. We were taught that scientists follow a method and that this method guarantees the truth of their claims. Now, it turns out, though, that there are several problems with this model. The main problem is that it's wrong. It's just not true. If scientists judge evidence collectively, this has led historians to focus on the question of consensus, and to say that at the end of the day, what science is, what scientific knowledge is the consensus of the scientific experts who, through this process of organized scrutiny, collective scrutiny, have judged the evidence and come to a conclusion about it, either yay or nay. If science is what scientists say it is, then isn't that just an appeal to authority? And weren't we all taught in school that the appeal to authority is a logical fallacy? Well, here's the paradox of modern science. The paradox of the conclusion that I think historians and philosophers and sociologists have come to, that actually scientist is the appeal to authority. But it's not the authority of the individual, no matter how smart that individual is, like Plato or Socrates or Einstein. It's the authority of the collective community. You can think of it as a kind of wisdom of the crowd, but a very special kind of crowd.
Well, because I think it's a good idea for the President, Congress, and the American people to listen to the overwhelming amount of scientists.
based on what you're perhaps expecting, how would you counsel this president and the people around him?
Thanks for Brian for having me on. So that's a big question for a small town ER doctor in southern Indiana. My counsel always comes back to the same set of principles. Listen to the scientists. They have our best interest at heart. There's no politics involved in pure science.
Yeah. So what do we do about that, Bill?
Well, the longest journey starts with a single step. So people listen to this show, for example, right? These are scientifically literate people. People want to know more about science. I strongly believe that in the next few years, we're going to reach a tipping point, but it is going to be, as we say in sailboat racing, a near-run thing.
I say that all the time when I race my sailboats.
It's going to be a close call.
Because that makes it so much clearer to me what you're saying.
It's going to be a close call.
A near-run thing.
It's not going to be. It's not clear who's going to get to the buoy first. The scientifically literate populace that is emerging with an enthusiasm for scientific truth and understanding the world by critical thinking.
So it's the rate at which people are learning versus the rate at which people are denying.
Yeah. And so when I say it's a close call, I mean, we could lose. I mean, the humankind could really be in huge trouble.
I am leaving soon, and you will forgive me if I speak bluntly. The universe grows smaller every day, and the threat of aggression by any group, anywhere, can no longer be tolerated. There must be security for all, or no one is secure. Your ancestors knew this when they made laws to govern themselves and hired policemen to enforce them. We of the other planets have long accepted this principle. We have an organization for the mutual protection of all planets and for the complete elimination of aggression. The test of any such higher authority is, of course, the police force that supports it. For our policemen, we created a race of robots. Their function is to patrol the planets in spaceships like this one and preserve the peace. In matters of aggression, we have given them absolute power over us. This power cannot be revoked. At the first sign of violence, they act automatically against the aggressor. The penalty for provoking their action is too terrible to risk. The result is we live in peace, without arms or armies, secure in the knowledge that we are free from aggression and war, free to pursue more profitable enterprises. We do not pretend to have achieved perfection, but we do have a system, and it works. I came here to give you these facts. It is no concern of ours how you run your own planet. But if you threaten to extend your violence, this Earth of yours will be reduced to a burned-out cinder.